chemical o bonnino jiol kono le men se beta alla jata kende ya filter mum boko CTO block carbon men si jiola chemical o be bondi akono pour alla jata kende ya sa hen nim filter sabol be kili wo kili na pansun doku na wata tankol fanan sotali kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fanan be mol bulle alsemol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala ismol kubandi 505 5691 796 8270 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende gambia banko.
Good morning there, you're watching QTV this morning and I am Jennifer Sonko with my amazing co-host Ibrahim Abada. It's end of the week already.
Yes, good morning. It's good to be back again. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
And you know, Thursdays are the end of the week for us on this morning.
And we can rest.
Yes, absolutely.
Come back, recharge.
There is no resting.
Why we can be? At least
Saturday will be there. We are expecting to spend the whole night here from Saturday to Sunday. It's parliamentary elections, so no rest for us.
I take that back. I take that back. Thank you so much for joining us, Sid Mati. It's always good to have you here.
Yeah, it's always happy. I'm always happy to be here.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, so as usual, we have the African proverb, we have the newspaper review. Our guest is already here, Sid Mati Jao, civil society activist, as well as on social issues today. We'll be talking about the Casamance conflict affecting citizens living around the border, their ability to vote, because if you take a look at the papers, they're demanding that IEC provide adequate security for them to be confident to come out to vote when it comes to the parliamentary election. So we'll be joined by the Director of Communications to further explain to us measures they're trying to put in place, and beyond that, just, you know, general preparations when it comes to the parliamentary elections. Don't forget, One Stop Water Solution down there at the Sokoto Highway for all your water needs, purification of your water. Head right on to One Stop Water Solution. Ibrahim, what is our African proverb?
All right. The cockroach does not choke in the smoke of the kitchen fire.
Okay.
The cockroach does not choke in the smoke of the kitchen fire.
Why are you looking at me?
I mean, you go first. I mean, you know you should go first. So
Said Mati, mung fi rek di ma bully.
No.
Whenever they
xam nga moom moo gën a xam proverbe. Moom moo gën a xam affaire proverbe.
Su safee mu jël ko sànni ma ko Said Mati. Anyway, man proverbe bi ni, the cockroach does not choke in the smoke of the kitchen fire. So for me, lu ma wan moy, obviously cockroach wants to be in the kitchen. That's where cockroach buga neka, because of leftover food and all of that. So even if it's smoke all over the place, the cockroach would rather bear it, because knowing that there's the interest there. That's what it's telling me.
It's telling me.
Man suma neke in a situation bo xamne I really need something to survive, and I really want it. Despite all of the hurdles, challenges around, dina ko bear mamuñ to be able to achieve that, because the man need environment. I don't know.
The proverb, yes.
But then it is saying that it does not what?
It does not choke.
Yeah, because for now, cockroach vitamin, time boy talk about so after food, we young leftovers.
Wow,
silamonyo. So maybe that time, you know.
Yeah.
So if you want something, I mean, you just wait for it to be done.
You wait for it to be done.
You go and get what you can get as well.
So yeah, but while the smoke is ongoing, somewhere.
Wow.
It might even affect it, but because of the interest on the other side.
Wow, because folk mu taxaw mu xaar be toga bi pare te xam nañ ne toga ak saxar la.
Yeah, so Said Mati, you know, have you been in a situation whereby you really needed to be patient? You really needed to wait, you know, to an extent where, you know, despite there is a lot of challenges there, even to the extent of trying to suffocate you, but you said to yourself, hey, I need to do this. Tell us a story.
I mean, if you're living in Gambia today, well,
Gambia,
so because at the end of the day, I mean, it has to be, because things are growing, developing, you know, I'm the forest that you grow. So when I see myself as a very patient person, I mean, I'm not competing with anybody, I'm not rushing anything. So lu ñew suma yoon, I mean, na jog liggéey ñafé, but then what comes my way I take, what doesn't come my way lo xamné warta nekk man fo keneen la I happy and then focus. So man for me that's my philosophy in life,
and
that's how I want to live. Yeah, I mean, maa ngi fi tey.
waaw comme noo ko waxee Gambia bi génn si buntu kër bi sax nga bugg a choke. Because of a lot of challenges.
And I remember in 2014 when I was arrested and I was jailed, I could not do anything. I mean, I just have to let you know the course of time would take time, and I just wait patiently. And I think at the end of the day, you know, what was supposed to happen happened. And yeah.
Tedanga said, patient is everything.
Exactly.
If you are patient, you will achieve a whole lot of things. I mean, sometimes lack of patience can lead you to certain things. Things that you will end up regretting. Wow. So we say all the time, he is with those who are patient. Because mom hamna lan mo fa neka. If you are patient, at the end of the time, danga gis dafa pay dividend, dafa la njëriñ. So it's very important.
Patience, let's look at it si benen aspect bi tam. Dafa am yena patient yoo xam ne instances yu ne dee nekk ñu ne ko patiental man loolu ooyee ma ko patience boobu dama ko ooyee nga nangu ñu abuse la. Because loolu am na fi du xaaj du jeex. Sometimes nga nekk si dara ñu ne la muñal rek déedéet da nga war a distinguish between nga patient pour ut dara te xam nga ne dina ñëw ak nga toog si dara ñu abuse la.
No.
da nga war a distinguish between the two because yéen a muñ yi daf dee tontu abuse. Because gis nañ fi xëj na yow probably yaa ngi ut liggéey somewhere nga toog naan ñu ne muñal déedéet yow war ngaa mun a xam ne fii su ma fi toogee daal future nekku fi so I have to move yow mun ngaa war a distinguish so dañ war a distinguish abuse am na patience am na.
Man dama believe something. The condition of a person cannot change ba moom mu jóg mu changeal ko boppam.
wax dëgg
waaw comme noo ko nekk di waxee borom ñu abuse ko mu toog benn place rek.
loolu dafa dépend ci moom
dina fa yaaga. you know situation bi change. because gis nañ am na ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi leen a abuse from day one ba léegi. the same thing continue.
so patient bi is in the context ne leer na la ne dina ñëw. prospect baa nga fa gis nga ko. xam nga ne sori na waaye prospect baa nga fa nga xaar ko mu ñëw nga enjoy ko. waaye nga xool leer na la nañ ne lii lu ma xaar du fi egsi war ngaa mën a évaluer tal sa boppa in line
su ñëwee sa balaa ma ko su ma ko jotee sa du ma njëriñ
boobu tamit
loolu njëwa yaakamti yaaxula yéena yi waaye comme situation li nga waxee situations differ waaye every individual you're responsible for yourself. I mean and at the end of the day sa decisions what actions you take loolu tamit si yow la moo nekk so you have to be you have to be responsible for that. waaye toog tamit ngay xaar ñu laa def lu la ne I mean that's not loolu nekkut patience. loolu tamit waaye tamit nit tamit lu nekk like things are seen in a different way ku nekk da nga am sa yoon and but people see things different way. but waxtaanee ko rek.
waaw so fi mu nekk nii we'll delve into the newspaper review straight away because we started late and we apologize for that. So here there's Fareha which says that the Petroleum Ministry says fuel increment due to Russian invasion of Ukraine. And for some reason, I think all newspapers are hyping this particular headline, which is
the tourism
Ministry launches intangible cultural project since Thursday.
It's like 3 or 4 times it's
since
coming.
Since Thursday of last week,
yes.
It's coming on. So I think this intangible cultural heritage project is big.
I hope now with the appearance of this story on newspaper, I mean, the implementation also should be there.
Yes, and moving on, Crab Island Tibet receives donation of office furniture and equipment, and also Gambia's interior minister is in Turkey to explore business opportunities, and voters in Fonyi urge IEC to provide adequate security as 2 polling stations located at border villages. Yes? The Voice?
Exactly, The Voice. NPP projected to win majority seats in April 9 parliamentary elections. If an NPP candidate is watching, I know he's smiling at this time.
But this is not enough to determine.
I'm telling you, Lawyer Dabo, UDP supporters must vote to avoid a result of rubber stamp National Assembly. And of course, public health officers embark on sit-down strike. Vote for UDP candidates to rescue Gambia from incompetent Barrow government, Lawyer Dabo.
All right.
Sub-rentals complaints of rent cost.
All right, so moving on. Honorable Cisse optimistic of re-election. Pay your taxes, help build the nation. And survey reveals government failing in major sectors. And 2 diaspora CSOs urge IEC to suspend NPP nullify its candidates. I'm like, okay. And yeah, seems that is all. But let's just delve into this particular survey, because here it says that survey reveals government failing in major sectors, you know, and they, according to this particular report, 66% of the respondents interviewed disagree that the government is committed to addressing corruption. On health, the survey revealed that 52% disagree or think otherwise, that government plans to increase access to health services. On education, the survey revealed that 60% of respondents said the Gambia education does not prepare students for the job market.
Yeah, I mean, I think we must start by congratulating CEPRAS for, again, another important survey. This is not the first time. They've done 2 surveys previously. And the first one, I remember there were a lot of noise. I mean, and eventually, you know, the survey became evident, especially after the votes were casted.
Right.
And but now here they also, I mean, most people will focus on the elections and all that, but then the other issues that they are looking at, particularly issues of public service delivery, I mean, are very critical. And these are the issues that people are very concerned, and these have been part of the campaign promises, and they help in tracking those issues. And at this point, we are able to have a baseline of what people are thinking, especially within this period of, you know, NPP's government. And I think over the period, you know, if they do it consistently, we'll be able to know exactly. But of course, if you look at the state of public service delivery in this country, it's worrying. I think even now we are talking about getting electricity from Senegal. Of course, you know, we need to do business, but of course, electricity and all these issues are of security concerns that any country must be able to provide for themselves. But people are talking about healthcare, you know, people are talking about education as well, and agriculture, and they don't feel that the government is doing much about those issues.
And talking about Senegal, here it says that half of respondents also said Gambia's bilateral relations with Senegal are exploitive and not beneficial to the Gambia.
Well, that's what many people think. I mean, like if you, I mean, over the period, if you look at our relationship, of course, I mean, after the change, Senegal came here, people appreciate that. But then the current relationship, many people see it as one-sided, and that is problematic, and that shouldn't be that case, because people are feeling that, I mean, Gambia is losing itself to Senegal, and that can be problematic. Of course, these 2 countries are together. We are condemned by nature to exist, just like my neighbor. We cannot, you know, change that historical fact. But of course, each country is a sovereign country, and each country must also start thinking about itself.
But isn't it big to consider sovereignty here? You know, sometimes to many, the relationship between Senegal and the Gambia, the way people feel it's not right, they're taking it to a level that it has not really reached.
I mean, like, is
going as far as talking about, you know, issues of sovereignty. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, like, we're Senegal and Gambia, like I said, we are condemned to coexist. Domi day, domi by, brothers and all that. Yes, outside that, I mean, as a political entity, we are 2 different countries.
Right.
And that should be on the table whatever negotiation is being done, whatever it is being looked at. But of course, people are talking about integration. Where and to what extent are we going to integrate it, and all those things. I think those are also issues that we need to bring on board. But why also there is this frustration as per the relationship? We've seen what happened in Fonyi. You know, even people have been displaced. We've seen what the economic forces under Senegal, or even the arresting of people within the country. I mean, these are all issues that are kind of creating those kind of frustration, where people will start demanding that let's take charge of our own country.
Right.
Well, I'll take you back to the survey. I mean, what is the use of a survey if the government it's not taking the survey seriously? I mean, I think the importance of a survey is for the government to know the places, their lapses, and at least step up to at least see how best to make sure everything is put into place. But at the end of time, if the government do not take heed, it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we do surveys or research in general to help inform policy. And opinion polls, basically, they are measurement, like you measure people, what they think or how they see their country in terms of their perception. And we usually say that perception for the longest could turned to reality. But I think, I mean, it's research in general. I mean, like, I see the Gambia Bureau of Statistics, they produce a lot of, beautiful reports, they do a lot of good research, there's a lot of data. But when you look at policy documents and all that, it is very rare that you see some of these issues feeding in terms, like right now, I was talking about a baseline. Right. Now, CEPRAS has given us a baseline where we can also look at education, agriculture, and all that in the next 5 years. But surveys are pointers. They're supposed to help government, they're supposed to help policymakers, civil society, everybody to look at their interventions and how they can engage based on what people are saying. Right. But if they don't use it, I mean, it's also their business. But of course, those that do surveys must continue to do it and do research generally for public knowledge.
Yeah, so youth policy, Gambia's youth policy. Youth policy envisages quality, successful transitional education system. Are you aware there's a youth policy? Have you ever looked into it?
Yes, they've been. I think I'm not sure what. I knew at some point it was revised. So there's existing youth policies. There have been existing youth policies as well, and part of it also has to focus on what young people really need. But for me, I think the way we do policy making, because right now I think one of the issues that young people are talking about is the proposed youth bill that is coming, where, I mean, a lot of it are kind of trying to limit the activities of young people, and they're talking about that. And so there's youth policy, but of course, to what extent?
The issue is, this youth policy, I've engaged young people to ask, do you know there's a youth policy? Hey, do you know there's a youth policy? Because I was moderating an event.
Yes, yes.
So I deliberated, because I knew it was a hall full of young people, and I knew the officials from the National Youth Council were there, as well as the ministry. Yeah. So I just deliberately asked the hall to say, who knows there's a youth policy? I had few hands up.
I mean, a lot of people don't know. Yeah, a lot of people don't know the existence of certain policies. Yes. Like for us, we will know because we are engaged in this. We've been engaged in that, and through our research and our activities, we'll get to know. But ordinarily, people wouldn't care. But policies are what government, in simplest terms, we say is what government wants to do or do not want to do, basically. And so it is important that young people start looking at youth policies to see what the government say they're going to do for them within this period, and then they hold government accountable, because policy documents are materials that we should use to hold government accountable.
Right, right. And moving on, UTG management as well as students discuss challenges, solutions to University of the Gambia problems. You know, a lot of issues there. You know, when I speak to officials from the University of the Gambia, they're like, we are in there, we know how hard it is. You know, you don't know what happens till you're there and having to deal with meager resources and where to put them.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the problems of UTG, we're all contributing in one way. In its success, we're also all contributing in some other ways. But I think the UTG needs to be prioritized, because it's an institution that is building higher education. Sometimes even myself, I mean, I am affected in terms of having available time because of our engagement. Sometimes we are not present, and so these are also part of the challenges that needs to be looked at, and support the research sector, which they have been doing as well, and I think there is need for more collaboration, more engagement, and dialogue within the admin and students to look at the issues that the institution is confronted with and see how to move it forward. But most importantly, it is government's education, higher education priority that needs to change. Not long ago, I saw that they have also validated a research, research policy, or which is also very important. Which will have an impact on the UTG. But I think there needs to be resources. There needs to be a lot of people engaged, and people like me also. I mean, to do what we are supposed to do in a way that will help.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what the research policy will bring, and also just ensuring that research is compulsory for all university students. I know at the School of Journalism it is compulsory. If you don't have your research done, you can't graduate. But it's obviously it is not compulsory for all faculties. So at some point it should be, but like you mentioned, resource constraints, because certain researches require money, and if it's not available, then you can't also force the student to go the extra mile on some of these things. Crab Island, Tibet receives donation of office furniture. You know, we had a head here, he was here, the principal, and talks about how they had a smooth transition from how dilapidated the school was to now having a whole, Tibet institution down there in Banjul. And we talked about the fact that the sustainability has to be there, considering their history.
I mean, for me, yesterday I have conversation with some, I will call them senior citizens,
Right.
because they are telling me that, oh, we don't need political science. We need, like, you know, the physical
Yes,
sciences,
the
so
skill.
that people can use their skills and then develop this country.
Right.
And that's what this country need. And I think, I mean, having Crab Island from being academia now focusing on Tibet will definitely add to that skills. And people need to get into the skills sector, and so that we can, I mean, build this country. Of course, I believe that education needs to be holistic, but yet I feel like we need to have more skilled people as well.
Yeah, I think that is important, and I think there should be an understanding in the Gambia when it comes to prices and how prices change, because here you see the petroleum minister says fuel increment due to Russian invasion of Ukraine. I've seen people boldly say it's because we voted for President Adama Barrow, that is why fuel is increasing.
I mean,
so there's a lot of lack of understanding, really, when it comes to the behavior of these things, you know, considering the international market, and the list goes on.
Yeah. So I think no country is an island,
Exactly.
but of course internal policies of a country also can contribute.
Right,
I
true,
mean, like,
true.
how do we build resilience? How do we ensure that, you know, when there is a global shock, it does not affect us to that extent? I mean, of course,
But
you will
say,
blame
Mati,
the
like
global
looking
market,
at
but of course you
Gambia,
also blame
but there are just
ourselves.
certain things that are not realistic in this instant.
No.
Looking at Gambia like this, you know, the way we are.
How are we? Like,
No, it's not like about how are we. Why, few minutes ago, we were just talking about how we need to save our health sector.
Yes.
How we need to save other sectors. And now you're talking about having the authority to control some of these things internally with the policies that we have.
I mean, like, you don't, I mean, like, we talk about free market, of course,
Yeah.
if what happened there, it might affect us here. But I'm saying, like, there are policies. Like, I mean, this country, we are rich. Nobody can tell me that this country is a poor country. You cannot have an 80-kilometer coastline and you tell me that this country is a poor country. You cannot have half of your country fresh water and then you are telling me that this country is a poor country. The land that we have, that country is a poor country. It's not a poor country. It has to do with what kind of policies are we
So
putting in.
what policies are you
So
suggesting
for
now
me, I
in
think,
relation to these things?
Yeah, so I think, you know, we need to start looking inward
Okay.
to a certain extent in terms of the food we produce, in terms of how do we harness our resources. And this is what the government is not telling people. We continue to tell people that we are poor, we go beg, and so things that are happening there will come and affect us. But there are things that we have in this country that we need to start utilizing for the benefit of the people.
Yes, but I'm seeing a different thing here. Government reduces fuel price. Government through the Ministry of Petroleum has announced a reduction of fuel price in anticipation of Ramadan despite rise in world fuel price.
Yes, there is subsidies. Government has been subsidizing, but still, I mean, we are talking about fare increasing. We are talking about, even though I'm not an economist, but it's going to be obvious. We're going to all feel it. Prices will increase. Cost of living will definitely increase. We are talking about moving from COVID now. We've seen a war in Russia, which I feel everybody should condemn because I mean, we need peace in this world, and all this conflict sometimes only create havoc. And small countries like us will feel it. That's why we need to start thinking about ourselves and how we move forward.
Yeah.
Quickly, let's take a look at this. Public health officers embark on a sit-down strike. And Musa Nget, Vice President, confirmed that commencement of the strike on Wednesday, stressing as association demand for its memberships to be included in the new allowance package that the government approved for PhD holders and medical doctors serving the Ministry of Health.
I mean, I think the public health officials feel like they have been sidelined, and I think, I mean, I've been following the news, and that's what they've been demanding. Well, let's see how it goes. But of course, I think if there is increment and people are doing different work, they need to be considered because the cost of living is increasing. People, I mean, whether it's the security, everywhere, people are finding it difficult. And therefore, I mean, there needs to be improvement. Of course, government is talking about increasing, reviving the pay scale later this year. So those are issues that also need to be discussed. But then you cannot make policies where everybody is part of that, and then you sideline certain people. They will see it like the other way, that they've been targeted, or they feel like their work is not as important and those things need to be addressed.
Yes,
Yeah.
and moving on to the parliamentary election before you leave, you know, it's good to note that we have only one person with disability.
Yeah, contesting.
You know, contesting. We were talking about women, at least we have a 19, that's just about 7% out of the whole aspiring candidates. But the fact that we have only one person with disability, what does that tell you?
Well, I think, I mean, our society is still not inclusive. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, we relegate people with disability, and I'm very proud of this this one that is contesting, because it's also showing the way that there is a need for people to come out. They are citizens. I mean, as long as you're a citizen, the law is not banning anybody. People need to be encouraged to come. But one, I mean, with disability here, you are sidelined socially. You know, you are left as beggar, where people can be help to develop effectively so that they can contribute to society. What this guy is doing, he's trying to seek the representation of his people, to represent the people, and that should be encouraged.
Yeah.
And I think he is strong, and he is also very brave, that he's also showing the way. And there have been a lot of them that want to do that. But of course, the society, the political structures, and all those things are kind of relegating them. And I think that needs to change. This country needs to be inclusive. As long as you are a citizen, you are a Gambian, it doesn't matter whether you are young, old, living with challenges or disability. I mean, it has to be, your citizenship needs to be considered for us, and people need to be given all the things that they need, and collectively we can do that.
Yeah,
and it should be the way.
Talking about this, you just reminded me that I need to do a follow-up story on this place. What's it called? Gadoff.
Yes.
You know, I interviewed them, and they spoke to me about the fact that they've not been receiving, you know, their subvention. You know, they've been on their own, not receiving any form of subvention. You know, when it comes to the issue of social protection and all of that, it's not there. It doesn't exist. They're just depending on foreign donors to actually keep the work going down there. So I think it's quite sad. You touched on political will, you know.
In this country, we neglect people that we should not neglect. Today, if you talk, is either the people with disability, even the old people now, we are trying to relegate them. We feel like they are no longer relevant in society. Whether it is the people in the rural communities, we still neglect them. I mean, like, you cannot develop a society when some people are left behind. Whether it is the women, the people with disability, particularly people with disability, they need to be protected. They need to be provided the right space so that they can also do what we are doing. It's not like because we are working, tomorrow I can be, you know, I can have the same condition. I mean, what will happen? So everybody needs to start thinking about the other person like you think about yourself. And that's the way we need to move the society.
All right. Thank you so much, Said Mati, for joining us. It's always good to have you here. Wamba or Bilalola?
No. Yeah, you know, something second.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And on social issues, shortly we'll be joined by the Director of Communications IEC, talking about the Casamas conflict affecting border villages. And according to the newspaper here, you know, voters in Fonyi are further urging the IEC to provide adequate security for them as 2 polling stations located at border villages. And we'll also talk about the IEC's briefing, pre-election briefing, where the IEC chairman, Ali Manjai, is also promising a fair, free and credible elections. We'll be right back.
Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q-Power. I am Q-Cell. I am Sunibus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And now we take a look at issues of the parliamentary elections, upcoming parliamentary elections on Saturday, April 9th. We're joined by the Director of Communications, IEC, about to take a look at voting at border villages, briefing, as well as the IEC chairman talking about promising a credible elections. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Mr. Khan.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So first of all, let's start with, a very pressing issue currently, which is voters in Fonyi urging the IEC to provide adequate security as 2 polling stations located at border villages. So what are some of the arrangements to ensure there's a smooth voting come Saturday?
Actually, thank you very much. The IEC, of course, on its part, of course, in partnership with the police, with the security, went to do an assessment mission in Fonyi to assess whether it was feasible to conduct elections in Fonyi. This was as a result of the clashes, in the neighboring country,
Right.
in the neighboring region of Casamance. And once the mission was completed, that was on the 24th of March, then it was concluded that the place was conducive enough to conduct elections.
Okay.
So based on that fact, then the Commission decided that elections should be conducted in all constituencies. These are all the 53 constituencies, including Fonyi, of course. So, and from then, the Commission have been monitoring the situation, making sure that it continues to be peaceful, continues to be conducive enough to conduct elections. So, as of now, there is no adverse report on this situation. So, based on this fact, the Commission will be proceeding to conduct the elections in Fonyi. However, when it comes to security, I would say that's a matter for the security services to do, the Gambia Police Force and the Gambia Army. So I think that would be a matter for them to...
Yeah, but Mr. Khan, you just said you think we want a confirmation, we want to use this opportunity to reassure the Gambians that actually live around there. So are this already taken care of, the security measures? Are they already put in place? Can you confirm that to us?
Well, I hope so. I wouldn't be able to confirm at this point, but one thing I can confirm is that a team was dispatched in Fonyi and they found the place very peaceful, very calm. People are returning back to their homes. For such being the case, that it was decided that elections would proceed. So I'm sure once the place is calm enough, people are more comfortable in their communities. There wouldn't be need for any panic. There wouldn't be need for any worry. However, notwithstanding, I'm sure the military and of course the police services would also do their part by securing the local environment. Of course, yesterday we had a briefing in which the Deputy Inspector General of Police gave a reassurance that the place is conducive enough, the whole country is peaceful, the whole country is at peace, and then the police have provided security, or they are taking the necessary measures to make sure that the elections proceeds peacefully, as usually as it is done.
Mr. Khan, how were these assessments conducted to conclude that, I mean, Fonyi is ready for voting, especially those that are within the Casamance border? How was this assessment conducted? The assessment was conducted by a team from the IEC, of course, and also the police, the Gambia Police Force. And the villages were visited, the hard-hit villages, I would say, areas which we think were by the hardest hit, where initially most people, moved. They were internally displaced to other villages and towns. So those villages were visited by the team, and it was found very peaceful. And again, the stakeholders, the candidates, were also engaged, and they confirmed that yes, the place is conducive enough, and the elections can proceed. And even the local authorities, like the chiefs. So I think, and even the Alcalde. So based on that, I think here we're talking about all the stakeholders. When we talk about the community, we talk about the candidates, who in this case, are the primary stakeholders in the election. And even the Alcalde and the chiefs. So I think that is enough reason to conclude that the place is peaceful. And again, the team was there physically on the ground in some of those hard-hit villages where, during those classes, most of them migrated to other areas. The team was there, and they found people going about their normal business. Women, cooking, men going about their normal business. So based on that, there was no need to worry. Does it mean, people going about their normal business, it doesn't mean that some families are still not displaced? I mean, some of them did not still return to their houses. I wonder what source that is. But from our own engagement with the communities, that most families are already in. Right. And maybe the few remaining, are coming back. Okay. So I wonder what source you're quoting here. So now let's take a look at elections in general. Saturday 9th. What time is polling opening? Very good. Polls opens. Polling stations. Polling starts by 8 o'clock in the morning, and would last till 5 o'clock in the evening. Okay. And that's the official period for polling, 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock in the evening. However, once somebody is in before 5, like the banks, the way they do, once you are in before 4, they have to attend to you. So it's the same principle, that once you are in at the polling station before 5 o'clock, you will be allowed to cast your vote. However, as we know, this is Ramadan. So maybe the Balde Kundas, they vote very early. Good. Yeah, but there's an assumption that there might be some form of voter apathy, due to the Ramadan. The Ramadan, yes. Not only Ramadan, the Lent as well. Yes. So I would say the whole Gambia is fasting right now. Yes. The Muslims are on the Ramadan. Our Christians are on Lent. Friends and relatives are also on the Lent. So, but notwithstanding, I think this is a national call, it's a national duty. It's a civic right that people have to exercise. And in so doing, I think we urge them to come out as the Baldekundas. Maybe they want to come out very early. Yeah, come early, cast your vote, and then go and go home or go do your other business. You said, voting will start at 8 a.m. And what time is it closing?
It's closing at 5 o'clock.
5. If I am wrong, prove me right. Is there any situation during the presidential election where they have to extend a particular polling station up to 12 midnight?
Yes, very well. Like just the same principle that I mentioned, that if you are in before 5, you have to be attended to, because they were in at the polling station before 5 o'clock. It happened in presidential election in some of those communities, in Sukuta, I would say, where it was more serious, and also in places like Busumbala, where people were in voting till around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, almost midnight. I think this is a situation which would not be repeated this time round, because we know Sukuta, we had some issues. The place wasn't very much conducive. Yeah, congestion was the issue. People, when there is congestion, there is delay, there is confusion, and there is disorder. So the polling station at Sukuta have now been moved to a place which is more spacious.
Right.
That's by the cemetery, I think, by that new highway going to Latrikunda.
The Bantaba?
I'm not sure. I don't know Sukuta very well. But I'm informed that it has been moved from that tiny location to around the cemetery on the new road from Sukuta to Latrikunda.
Okay.
And in the same way, the other incident happened in Busumbala, where it was in a tiny nursery school. Now this also has been moved to another a bigger location. So I hope that wouldn't be repeated this time.
Yeah, but and again, Mr. Khan, gis nañ tamit ne voters yi xamuñu woon ne sa santa wala sa tur mooy determine si biir polling station bi nga def day am ñetti different streams. So nit ñi xamuñ ne xëj na sa santa baay dafa depend si yow fooy taxaw, something like that. I don't know ndax loolu dañ ko war a explain nit ñi wala.
No, loolu du seen problème.
Du nekk issue.
waaw du nekk issue, because issue bi mu nekk ñun la. maybe suñu staff yi maybe they fall short somewhere. Because am na ku war a taw si bunta bi soo ñëwee moom moo lay njëkkee laajte. yow naka nga tudd sa santa dañ mu direct la fan nga war a sànni. waaw mooy di polling assistant. moom moo war a dimbali voter si pour ñu mun a xam ban rang lañ mën a taxaw. waaw loolu xam naa ñun waaye suñu terrain bi teg na kii yooyu noonu. so foog naa ne loolu du war a amaat.
waaw gis nañ fi tamit yaa ngi wax fii ne following its notification that some members are using colours and symbols of other registered political parties. In IEC, you are saying that they should stick to their symbols as well as party materials throughout the campaign.
Yes, very well, very well. I think this is all about having confidence in yourself.
Yes, using what you own.
Using what's your own.
Okay.
You come to nominate under your political party, so I think it's only best that you use your party materials. So, but why should you use somebody else's materials? Saying that you are in what, partnership or coalition or what? Grand coalition? You could have as well nominated on another party's ticket.
Okay.
So I think this is not a fair.
Okay, so candidates are using other political parties' colours.
Some few of them.
Are these independent candidates?
These are party candidates. Some of them. No, I think they are all party candidates.
Okay.
I haven't named the names. It's transparency,
right.
And it's the fact. We've seen it in Joswang, where the GDC candidate is also using APRC candidate.
Okay.
APRC colours is wrong.
Okay.
You are GDC, 60 or GDC.
Okay.
The same way we've seen it in Njen Sanjal, that NRP is using NPP materials. No, you are NRP, use NRP. So I think people have to be sure of themselves, let them be confident of themselves. You come on your own party, use your party materials.
All right. So Mr. Khan, fi mu nekk nii fo naa mun nañoo def demonstration bi ñu won nit ñi rek naka lañ war a voter.
Waaw débat bi fo naa it's very important.
Waaw
pour xale yu ndaw ñoom jànki
waaw
ak ñu mu sota vote
the vote nañ de. Vote nañ de.
Waaw okay, very well.
Yes, so this is it.
So normally this is the ballot drum.
Waaw boobu mun nga ko wax all of rek.
Waaw lii mooy kees bi. Normally nag yow soo ñëwee loo njëkkee war a bàyyi xel moo nekk ne yow kan mooy sa candidate. kan nga bugg a saanil nga xam ko kooku noonu am na kola because mboolem ko taxaw rek am na kola boppam black la wala beneen kola la yow da nga war a xam suma candidate kola bii la den soo xamee loolu ba pare den nga bàyyil sa candidate ban nataal la amee nga bàyyil nataal bi tamit suma candidate kii la waaw Balde ba suma candidate nga waaw gis nga tout nga bàyyil picture bi nataal bi den ñetta tamit nga bàyyil symbole bi ndigam mboolem ku taxaw rek am na symbole boppam symbole mooy mandarga boppam bi waaw mun naa jël mobile phone mooy mandargam bi wala mu jël pen mooy mandarga wala mu jël bale waaw so mboolem ku taxaw am na kola boppam am na nataali boppam ak tamit mandarga boppam so yooyu nga war a njëkkee bàyyi xel soo duggee xam naa dina am ay box yu bëri nag waaye yow boobu nga war a bàyyi xel man suma candidate ban kola la ban nataal la amee ak ban mandarga la amee te loolu soo ko xamee ba pare nag den di nga dugal si biir ñu jox la per bi am na benn pax bu ndaw fii nii xam na caméra bi dina ko mën a zoom xam na waaw am na benn pax bu ndaw fii nii den pax bi boobu ngaa jël nag dugal fa per bi den soo bàyyee per bi mu rot di nga dégga benn bel loolu mooy ne waaw yow sànni nga carte la am na tamit ñu toog si biir ñu liggéey si polling station bi loolu la gars yi di bàyyi xel ndax yow sànni nga na sànni wut so loolu noonu bel bi moo koy wone soo ko rotalee rek di nga dégg bel bi ne kelang waaw nga xam ne waaw so ñu toog si biti nañ xam ne waaw kii nii jànkee vote na ba pare Jeynaba vote na ba pare waaw soo noonu la
foog mu votal candidate am bi si programme
lu yomba la
man Mr. Kane man mi dox ba dugga si biir polling station bi ma gis suma candidate bi boxam baa ngi ne nataal bi ak mandarga gi rek ma ñëw teg per bi fii su ma tegee per bi fii
waaw
vote naa ndax votuma
loolu votuloo
si naka
ndigam lu ay
ndaxte xam naa ne si box bi laa ko bëgg
waaw ñu ne si box bi ñu ne si biir box bi dafa war a dugga si biir box bi
bel bi ring
waaw njëlbeen bel bi dafa wala ring
wane nañ ko de mu ngi mel ni comme soo ko fi tegee votuloo
waaw soo ko fi tegee si kaw votuloo lu ñuy ooye invalid vote mel ni per buñ compté wut so yooyu kon yaa ngi yaaxa per bi yaa ngi yaaxa vote bi waaw so loolu moo tax nit yi dañ si war a
Balde votal ñu xool
waaw dañ si war a bàyyi xel
vote
vote naa de
exactly
vote naa de
waaw lu yomba la fu naa si àdduna bi yëpp Gambia ñoo gën a am process bu gën a simple bu gën a yomba waaw ñëw rek dugal rek vote ko boobu wala nga dox dem doxi sa soxla lu yomba la lu set la amul benn sikki saka lu transparent la ñuy oyee nga dafa transparent waaw xam naa lu mu tax ñu bëri Gambia bëggu ñëw bàyyi système bi even though ay si léegi dañu bëgg a wécci système bi dem si kayit bi ba pipa bi waaw waaw it's a simple process lu yomba la pour vote
jërëjëf Mr. Kane thank you so much ñu ngi leen di wish ñëpp am successful election period ñu dugga si jaama génn si jaama ba pare nit ñi teel a génn parce que weeri koor la comme ni nga ko waxee ñu ngi assume na there might be voter apathy because of weeri koor bi so hopefully nit ñi dinañ mën a génn saaneel ñi nga xam ne ñooñu lañ bëgg a saaneel te polls will open 8 a.m. the close 5 p.m. inshallah. So we wish you good luck with this particular process, just as in the presidential elections. And tune in on QTV. We'll bring you live updates when it comes to the parliamentary elections. Definitely presidential. So we'll have different panels starting from 9 a.m. to 1 to just the next day, just giving it to you, just as in the presidential elections. So please stay tuned. So Ibrahim, asuma mbuba bilosi wa?
Bi moom dox na.
Dox na de. Muhammad taxaw. Waaw mbuba baa ngi nii de. Kola bi nice na. So Zifa Couture, and you can call them on 50-31127 50-31127. Waa doole ma wona waa maa ngi taxaw. So 50-31127. Man ñu ma am si biir lu xew dañ ma bëgg a jaagari loo rek waaw mu ngi nii so 50-31127 Zifa Couture penda nag nga dem jaagar dem jëndal ko fa benn
soo bëggee nga sànni si kaala bu black
kaala bu red loo si sànni gis ngeen aka moo oyof mu ngi nii gis ngeen ko nu mu oyofee so Zifa Couture, thank you so much for providing me this outfit. So till we come your way next week with all the other interesting programs, bye bye.